Good afternoon, everyone. We're CyberSecure, and we'll be talking to you today about the response function of the Insider Threat Program we have developed for your organization. I, Alex, will be accompanied by my teammates Keith and Mark to go through the details of our response plan with you. At CyberSecure, our goal is to ensure that your organization has all the proper measures in place to respond to a potential insider threat. One of the most important features of your ITP is the investigative procedure we designed for your organization to implement. One of the main components is the investigative procedure, with its main focus on being prepared for how to carry out an investigation should the time come. Using system information event management tools, we will be able to create a timeline of when the incident occurred, as well as how our systems were affected. We can look for clues like time of access, method of access, and identify which files were exfiltrated. We would like to delegate personnel that will help conduct the investigation and make sure each understands their role. Someone will be designated to interview potential suspects, and we hope a reward for information regarding the causes of the event will help bring potential witnesses forward. We plan to document all evidence regarding the intrusion and report it to the appropriate departments on a need-to-know basis. Even if in-house IT is available to conduct the investigation, and they certainly will conduct their own investigation, we will be bringing in outside entities to investigate as well. Certain biases or people hiding information can ruin the investigation, so it's important to bring in outside sources to be as objective as possible.
Hello, it's Keith, and I'll be talking about the decision tree. It is important to have an established decision tree when thinking about how we will be responding to events and breaches. The decision tree should cover any and most choices that would have to be made when responding to an insider threat. The most important thing to consider is when we will be stepping in to stop an insider threat. Too early and we may not have the proof we need to warrant an investigation. Too late, we may have a huge breach on our hands or a large vulnerability that we can no longer stop. Through the use of our monitoring system, we will be able to step in at a perfect time to prevent this from happening. And like previously stated, there may be cases where we need to bring in external members to help deal with a breach or gather information that we do not have the capability to get. Incidents occur where we will need to escalate and involve external members or get higher ups in the company to help us reprimand employees or be made aware of what is happening in the company and these breaches that occur. Legal teams and authorities will need to be contacted. The further along a breach gets, the bigger the threat is. Legal teams tell us what legal actions we can take against the employee, and authorities for reprimanding and pursuing them legally.
Hey guys, Mark and I will be talking to you today about analysis and mitigation. Analysis is used to classify an incident and determine the appropriate investigative procedures followed. The two main things to look for in this stage is the type of insider and the type of attack. When analyzing the insider responsible, there are a few things to look for. The first question should be whether the attack was intentional or unintentional. This could help decide how we'll respond to the employee responsible. For example, it would be considered an unintentional attack if the user clicked a phishing email and gave up his credentials. They wouldn't receive as harsh of punishment as someone who did something along the lines of selling sensitive data to an attacker. Once the host is discovered and analyzed, analyzing the equipment to find any anomalies would be the obvious next step. When analyzing the attack, the main two pieces of information we should be looking for are the data affected by the attack and the overall scope of the attack. Once the type of the attack is determined, it'll be easy to find out when the attack reached. Making sure you know what data was affected is important because malware could be hidden in affected data and could be a cornerstone for the next attack. After an attack, one of the main goals the company should be looking to do is addressing the cause of the attack and figuring out a way to stop a future attack of similar nature. The first response should be to remove any malware left behind and fix any security vulnerabilities that were exploited during the attack. Once we've done that, we'll move over to personnel. Removing any access the attacking party had to the company is the obvious first start. After that, the company has to determine what legal or disciplinary actions will be taken, whether it's a suspension, firing, or if the company decides to press charges on the attacker. We will put together a group to delegate and come to a fair punishment based on the specific attack.
Here are some of the practices our team has recommended that your organization should implement in order to improve your response capabilities. By keeping a very close eye on employee behavior in the workplace and having employees trained to spot suspicious behavior, there is a chance that the individual who committed the theft of your IP made comments or requested access to systems that should have raised suspicions. The target of this theft, the trading system you are developing, should have been the most secure asset in your possession. People working on this project should also be considered high-risk individuals. Their activities should have been monitored the most frequently as well as the most intensely. By being more proactive about security measures of your most valuable assets, your organization will be able to respond much more efficiently to threats targeting them. We recommend placing very strict safeguards in place to monitor remote access points, as many times suspicious activity cannot be seen in person with the remote employee. We also recommend potentially blocking some features, for example, the sending of large files out of network. Lastly, we recommend utilizing a data loss prevention tool that can monitor network activity for irregular behavior and protect all data, whether at rest or in motion. And with that, that's the end of our presentation for the week. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to your feedback. Thank you.